The 71st annual KDKA Free Care Fund Telethon is this Thursday. And all week we're introducing you to some of the local children and families who are alive and thriving today, thanks to UPMC Children's Hospital.
And tonight, Erica Mokay shares the incredible story of a little girl whose family calls her sweet, sassy, feisty, and fearless.
I never really believed in miracles. You always say, oh, let's hope for a miracle, but like, she truly is.
To say 3-year-old Makenna McDonough of Kittanning is a miracle is quite the understatement.
If you didn't know what happened to her, you would never guess.
Back in February, Makenna, or Kenny as her family lovingly calls her, started not feeling well. Her pediatrician thought it was just a virus. But then on March 4th, everything turned upside down.
And she grabbed her chest and she said, "Mommy, I don't feel good."
She passed out and turned gray. Her mom, Emily, called 911. Paramedics took Kenny to the local hospital, where they decided to fly her to UPMC Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. When they got there, Kenny's vitals crashed.
So obviously I was like, what is going on?
Turns out Kenny had a tumor on her heart and needed open heart surgery immediately. As doctors worked to remove it, that tumor exploded and sent tiny pieces of it all throughout her blood vessels. That then caused Kenny to have 3 strokes and also led to a blockage in her femoral artery.
From her belly button down, she did not have blood for 12 hours.
Doctors had to cut open both of her legs to try to save them. With all of Kenny's issues, things were not looking good. Doctors said if Kenny survived, her brain might never recover. She'd likely be blind and would also have to have both legs amputated below the knee. Then came the difficult discussion about end-of-life care.
And that is not something that me or her father, David, was going to accept. And we were just like, no, we need more time.
And so they waited, hoping, praying, fighting for Kenny to survive.
I mean, that first week was absolutely horrendous. I'll never forget getting in the car each night to go back to the family house and seeing her car seat in the back seat and like thinking, what if we remove that car seat and she doesn't come home with us? Sorry. And that, I mean, that was excruciating as a mom. Absolutely excruciating.
A week later, Kenny finally started to come around, shaking her head yes and no to things.
At that moment, I needed that little tiny glimmer of hope.
But it didn't last long, and Kenny slipped back into a state of delirium. Eventually, doctors decided to move her out of the PICU and into a regular room. And almost immediately, she started to respond again.
At that moment, I was like, I have her back. From that day, like forward, it was just new positive things each day.
All told, Kenny spent 116 days in the hospital before finally being well enough to go home.
And now, as you can see, she is walking, talking, her vision is completely back. I mean, everyone was just in disbelief. I mean, no one, not even like the seasoned doctors, were expecting any of this.
Through it all, the McDonoughs say the care and compassion their entire family received at UPMC Children's was unparalleled.
I mean, I can't even say enough about the staff. You know, not just the doctors, everyone else who's like, I want to say like backstage at the hospital. Every single person just cared so much. We couldn't have gotten a better team of doctors. Without them, we wouldn't have her. Without them caring for her like they would care for their own kids, we wouldn't have her. I'm sure of that.
Now 9 months later, Kenny has recovered from almost everything. She still goes to rehab for her legs and also is now being treated for Carney complex, a rare genetic disorder.
Less than 1,000 people have ever been diagnosed, and she's probably one of the youngest.
She'll live with it for the rest of her life. But considering what could have been,
she has gone through more than most people go through in their in 10 lifetimes. I hope one day I can like look out and see her riding a bike all by herself, or playing in the snow and running around and jumping. I mean, she's already doing so much of that. I just want her to feel like every other kid.
Of course, but given all she's survived, Kenny clearly is not just any other kid.
She is so feisty and so sassy. It's done nothing but help her in this. I mean, she's such a fighter. I'm so proud to be her mom.
My Kenny. my mommy.